up in the Northwest right now, and it's a good time for me to get rid of this tinting that's on the window here. It's basically just a big sticker. You can see how it's wrinkly here. So a lot of times when I'm driving, I can't actually see out here very well. I can peel this off. It actually came off pretty easily. I've just been using this razor blade, and I haven't actually needed the Goo Gun yet, but the heat gun helps. You just kind of heat it up. You don't want it heated too much. You don't want to melt it on there. You can see how this razor blade just gets behind there, and then once you get a big enough piece, you could pull it off with your hand. I'm going to Quartzsite in Arizona, and I'll be going through Nevada, and it's going to be really sunny, so I want to get this taken off so I can put some darker tint on. I think that's going to be nice. The only problem I've been having is that the glue is staying behind. See, that's still all tacky. And this tinting is really old. I mean, it's over 20 years old. So if you have tinting that's only, 5 or 6 years old and you want to take it off, a lot of times the glue will come with it. But lucky for me, I've just been using simple green and a rag, and it comes off pretty easily. See, just like that. You can see it's coming off. I've been checking my air pressure a lot in the tires, and this gauge, this one goes up high enough, because on the trailer tires they're 65 pounds. See, this one only goes up to 50, so this one doesn't even work for the trailer tires. And this one's starting to kind of leak, like when I push it onto the air valve, then you can hear air coming out a little bit, so it's starting to go bad. And I like to have a backup so I can double check the tire pressure. So I picked up this one here on Amazon. I just got it delivered. It's kind of funny because this packaging is like, it's probably overkill. They're trying to make it like look really fancy, but this was like a $5 tire gauge, and it's digital, and it says it comes with batteries. So I'm about to try it out. I want to show you what I got here. So it's just some Chinese thing, but check out this packaging. Like, it's super fancy, and it says Duracell. I guess those are the real thing. See, it's got Chinese print on there, so I don't know if these are real Duracells. It says made in China. If these are real, I mean, those batteries, those are worth a couple bucks right there. And here's the deal. So let me put the batteries in and we'll test it out, see how it works. There's the back of the box. I'll put a link to this down in the description so you can check it out for yourself if you want. Well, the first thing I notice is the battery compartment. It seems like it's built pretty well. It feels like a pretty solid device. I mean, it's all plastic, but it comes with this extra valve in here. So that's kind of cool. It just holds it right there in the battery compartment. All right, let's try this out on the truck. You can read that pretty well. It's not super bright, but that's all I need. Mr. Echo doesn't find a lot of the stuff I do on the trailer and the truck that exciting. But he's a good watchdog for me if something comes up behind me or whatever. So let's check the pressure. This is on the truck. These should be about 35 pounds. So you can hear that. It's still leaking. Like, air's coming out. It used to not do that. So this is, it's about 38. So let's see what this device says here. So I guess it has a trigger. Oh, there's a little light. What, push that on? Now it's not leaking. It says 39.1. So how accurate is that? It seems like it's reading about 1 pound different than this, which that's good enough for me. And honestly, I don't know which one is more accurate, but that they're a pound apart, that seems good enough for me. I like this thing. It seems pretty sturdy. And I like that I can just hold it up there real quick and get a solid reading. I don't have to kind of decipher. The marks are at 2 pounds, so you have to kind of count them to figure it out. And when you got, you know, I'm dealing with 8 tires here. I got 4 on the truck and 4 on the trailer. And now here's the calibration certificate. And this is handwritten on here. So indicated pressure 10.1, supposed to be 10. Indicated pressure PSI at 60, 60.4. Supposed to be 110, and it read 110.2. They're saying it's very accurate. That's kind of cool. I don't know, I'd say, yeah, get this. It's $5, maybe $6 for this thing. It was actually the cheapest one I could find on Amazon that was battery powered and had a digital readout. I'd say get it. It says T300 Eaton Wolf. So yeah, check the description below and hit that link. That helps us out here on the Gut Out channel. Check this out. In the manual here, it says sturdiness. The Eaton Wolf digital tire gauge can withstand a run over by a car and remain undamaged. Look at this guy. Of course, it's rainy here in the Northwest. There we go. It's a good dog. I had a wind incident. The wind blew my canopy, and I had it set up in a way that these arms were out. Usually you set up the awning here and the arms will come out like this, but I had it set up so the arms and the awning came all the way out here, and then the arms go straight down, which is kind of nice, but Echo does get wrapped up in that setup. So I'm probably not going to ever do that again. But what happened was, this is the part that you nail this into the ground, and they were nailed in, but it was just one gust of wind and the whole thing flew up on top of the trailer. And you can see right here where that bracket is totally smashed. What also happened was this got dented here. You can see that, which I can bang that out. And I'm gonna need to, because if I don't bang it out, and then I'll have to repaint it, obviously, because that paint is now peeling. To repair that, or to buy a new part for this, you have to buy both arms, and it's about $600 or $700 for those. And there's some foldable arms inside there, and those got damaged as well. This one incident, hopefully though, I'm gonna be able to repair for about $50. But I'm gonna have to kind of jimmy it a little bit. This is one of the arms that completely broke off. You can see that right there. See how that's torn? This lip is totally torn off, and this one's starting to come off. And the same thing on the other one. The other arm did stay fairly intact, but this one, the rivets got totally blown out. You can see that? My plan is to cut a section of this off right about here, drill in a new hole all the way through here, and then re-rivet it with the brackets, which I ordered the brackets on Amazon. So that first bracket for the upper top, see, this one's still intact here. The bracket that broke, I bought on Amazon it was $25 just for this hunk of metal. All you could buy on Amazon was the black one, so I've been painting it white. So it'll blend in, it'll look fine once it's on there. And so I'm gonna remount that. And then I got these brackets here, was a set. And this will replace this one right here. And the other one's broken as well. So this has to come out. I have to drill this rivet out, then put this new one in, and it comes with new rivets here. So hopefully I'll be able to pound those in somehow. And these were $25 for the pair. So that's not too bad of a deal there. And this is an exact replacement for that right there. And the other thing that happened is, you see this vent cover here, this thing got smashed because that awning came up and totally smashed this cover. And this cover isn't completely necessary, but let me show you what it's for. You see, you got this vent here, and the vent cover covers this vent, so you can leave it open. And I'm still in Washington State right now. We've been getting a fair amount of rain, actually, a lot of rain. I'm kind of getting ready to leave this area, but having the vent cover on top of the vent on top of the trailer would have been nice, because rain just pours right through there, and so you have to remember to keep it closed. Usually I drive with it open because this thing's sitting on top, and what that does is it allows ventilation, like as you're driving, some air can kind of get in there and circulate and keep things kind of fresh and dry, and it's really nice. And this grill goes over that, so it's really hard for any water to get through. So it can rain all day long, and you're not going to get any water inside your trailer, even with the vent open. The idea that you don't have to remember to keep that thing closed. You know, I can go out on a hike and not worry if we get a thunderstorm, which happens. We'll get a rainstorm in the middle of our hike, and so we'll be, you know, a mile or two away from the trailer, and I don't have to worry about rain coming through the vent because I can leave it open with this vent cover on top. I'll have a link to this for your RV if you're interested in getting one of these. A lot of people have them. Most people have these on top of their rigs, but like I was saying, the one problem is when it's hot out, you can't open your vent quite as far as you usually could without this cover on top. So this does hamper the ability to completely open it. You kind of have to decide what's going to work for you. But what I decided was the rain factor, flooding the trailer on accident, would be horrible. So I'm going to keep this thing on. So I got some work to do. Here's the top bracket that broke on my awning here on the trailer. So I got to take this off, and then I got to install the new one. And it comes with this pin here, which is basically like a rivet, but you don't use a rivet gun. You got to pound it out to get it to lock in there. And you can see there where that's as good as I could get. I didn't have the right tool to do it. On this part of the bracket here, this is like the arm that holds up the awning. It has a smaller pin that comes with it. This piece also broke, so this is brand new. And this pin is smaller. I was able to find a tool at Home Depot, so I pounded that one pretty good. It looks a lot better. It's still not totally tight, but it's not coming loose at least. So now what I'm gonna have to do is, so you got these long bolts here, they go into the plywood that's on the roof. So what I'm gonna have to do is kind of clean this area up right here, clean this up, and then I'm gonna add caulking in there to keep these screws sealed, because you use the same screws to put that bracket in, and then that'll hopefully keep the water out and help keep the threads in there really nice and tight as the caulking dries. So I'm gonna get a razor knife now and clean that up. Well, with a lot more pounding, I got it, this rivet a lot flatter. You can see I had to really mangle this, but it was already mangled. Like this was all bent up. This was all bent up here, just from the wind incident that destroyed it, basically. But I wanted to keep this from rattling too much, so I kind of wanted it fairly tight in there. So that's why I was focusing on getting this rivet nice and tight in there, so there's not a lot of play like sideways. Actually, there's no play now sideways. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. It's pretty strong in there, which is my main concern. Now this one on the other side, this bracket stayed intact, but the rivet that was in here on this pole right here stayed intact as well, but it ripped out through this white pole here. So I had to cut that section off, and then I had to kind of chop this section out to make it the same shape. I did the same thing on the back side here, and there's no rivet. I can't find these rivets that are supposed to go in here, so I have this locking nylon nut, and then it's a screw on the other side, and it does fit, so it seems like it does work. To get the rivet, I have to buy this bracket again, but they're all out on Amazon, so I think this will work. This might be a good solution for you if you have the same issue and you just need a rivet. You just try this bolt with a locking nut here. So here we go. This slides in like that. See, and then it'll lock in up here. You can adjust it. This is the length adjuster. That's why I was able to cut it off up here, because there's extra length. So that really saved me, because to get this pole, it was going to cost me a lot, because you have to also buy this section, which is hundreds of dollars. I think I did it. It seems pretty strong, actually. My main concern was that I wasn't going to be able to hit the road until I got this fixed. If it falls off on the road, then that could be pretty dangerous. So it needs to be secure, and now I can hit the road. I feel confident about that. Now I've done a couple additions here. I put this wheel on, and it's really important because you can see how the corner of your door could totally tear apart your awning up there. And I think that's how a lot of awnings get destroyed. So having a wheel up there is nice. This is just an old busted up wheel, but it still works pretty good. It's all rusty or whatever, but it works. And then another thing is when you have the awning out, so you got this bar right here. And if you want to have your door open, which I like to have open because a lot of times the dogs will be out. You know, if it's hot out, then I'll leave the door open, dogs are out, and you can close the screen, which I also made a modification on. I'll show you in a sec. But here I put a little stopper, just a chunk of plastic that I JB welded there just so it doesn't scrape up against this pole all the time. Because having the dogs outside, it's pretty common, you know, if it's hot out, and then I like to have the screen so no bugs get in, and you want the door open so you get a nice breeze, because if you have this closed, you know, it can get pretty hot inside. But there's no way to hold the door open. I don't know why they designed it that way, but the door just kind of stays here and swings and flaps around, and then you end up with the scraping on the awning. So my dad came up with this design here. It's just this little toggle on a little piece of 550 cord that slides into the door lock there, and then you wrap it around your awning post right here, and that keeps the door from closing. And with this chunk of plastic here, you don't have to worry about scraping or rubbing or anything like that. So that's one modification I made. Now here you can see this is the original screen on the trailer. It's just a basic screen. It's pretty thin, but it keeps most of the bugs out, except for the no-see-ums, which are the worst. Mr. Echo, he's laying down over there. He had a little incident where I was having to leave him in the trailer a little bit because I was doing errands. And he started ripping apart this screen a little bit. He just kind of paws at it a couple times, and this was just shredded. And I'm not going to be able to go camping in the desert and the woods where there's mosquitoes and all kinds of bugs if this is all torn out. So I was going to get one of those screens, you know, one of those like pet protector screen things. It's like this metal aluminum frame that you put on here. You just bolt it in, and they have them on Amazon. They have a few, but the one that's kind of decent is about 80 bucks. And I was like, I don't want to spend 80 bucks on that, but I will, because, you know, I need to keep this protected because it keeps the bugs out, and I need it because it keeps the breeze going through. You know, I can't just cover it up with a solid piece of, you know, wood or something like that. So what I did, instead of spending the 80 bucks, I needed to replace the screen anyways. So for a few bucks more, I was able to buy this kit I got it at the Home Depot. It was only like 23 bucks, but you can replace the whole screen with it. This is the heavier duty pet screen. It's still fiberglass, but you can see it's a lot thicker. I know Mr. Echo is like a super strong dog. I'm hoping that'll be enough to keep it protected. If he does now paw at it a couple times, I think it'll be fine because it's this heavier duty. They call it pet resistant.